It's been an exciting day for Hello Kitty Island Adventure announcements. Today in the Nintendo Partner Showcase, we saw a blip of the first DLC for Hello Kitty Island Adventure. This new DLC centers on Cogimyun, and it takes us to a whole new area. The new DLC is the Wheatflour Wonderland, and the name really matches the aesthetic. Now, in addition to the Direct, we also got a Nintendo trailer, a Steam trailer, a listing on Steam, key art, additional screenshots, a press release, a live Q&A with the maker of the game, Discord posts, and then I've also done an additional Q&A, so we know so much more than we saw in the montage from Nintendo. So I've organized everything that we know. On top of all that, we also got news about the next free updates. Wheatflour Wonderland is the DLC, and I've gotten this question a lot. What's the DLC? DLC stands for downloadable content, and it's like an expansion or an add-on for a base game. Usually it's at an added cost. Some examples include Mario Kart has a DLC where it adds additional tracks. Disney Dreamlight Valley has DLCs that are new areas with quests, characters, and items. And then another question I got from Switch players, is it included in the NSO expansion pass? And the answer is no. So far the only ones on there are first-party Nintendo games, so games made by Nintendo with their characters like Mario Kart and Animal Crossing. So you won't find this DLC on there. It will be a separate purchase. So let's look at what's in the DLC and how you can get it. This is the first DLC for Hello Kitty Island Adventure. They let us know, and the first part of the trailer shows us, when Chromie and My Melodies spill a magical potion on a bunch of flour in the cafe, they open a secret portal to Wheatflour Wonderland. It's a whimsical world of waving grain, bright stained glass castles, mysterious ruins, and more than a little magic. Suddenly, Cogimyun appears with an urgent request to restore the Wheatflour Guardians and unlock the ancient citadel, where a great treasure resides. We don't know yet what that great treasure is. They do tell us this adds the largest world since the game's launch. It includes new cooking and crafting opportunities, magical new friends, and more secrets than you can shake a wand at. Remember that Hello Kitty Cafe redesign we got in a recent update? That was partly to give space for this new portal. And just look at this world. The color scheme is unlike anything we have in the game right now. It does remind me a little bit of Mythopia. We've got periwinkles, purples, pinks, and a ton of yellow and gold. It looks like we have fields and hills, and then all these different platforms, floating staircases, floating islands. Over on the left side, it looks like we have some cabins maybe, some other sort of buildings. We have completely floating islands, and then we have these little balconies and places that have doors on them. So we have a door over here. It looks like we have some towers, a ton of stairs, archways, and then it looks like we have some sort of giant bubbles in the background. We have one around the tower and the door, another one on the left, the closest one being this one on the right, and then another one up here, and the bubble extends downward, and there's that glow. I wonder if we can go through them, like the force fields on the moon, or if these will be barriers to different areas. I do really like these little spiral plants. The different hanging ivy. I do kind of wonder if the bubbles that we see on these pillars are just going to be decorative or in some way related to the bubbles we see back here. And we'll see this little symbol for Cogimyun just about everywhere. At the start of the trailer, we get an even better view. You can see these little hoppy squares in the background. Makes it seem like an open air puzzle. And in the Direct, we got a closer look at one of those. It looks like you can use your balloons, and we'll be hopping from square to square. We can see that we have one of the friends following us here. Wheatflour Wonderland is a DLC. It is included on Apple Arcade because there's no additional purchases for any of the games on Apple Arcade because it is a subscription. And then it'll be $14.99 on all other platforms, which as far as DLCs go is super reasonable. And it comes out September 18th on all current platforms. So Switch, Steam, and Apple Arcade are all getting the DLC at the same time. PlayStation, because it's still just coming out, will be about 2 weeks behind. They'll get the DLC on October 2nd. They've been working on this for most of this year. The wishlist is up on Steam. We still don't have a Switch pre-order date, and it'll be fully complete at launch. No needed updates, no installments like DDV. You get everything right away. So some of the questions I asked in follow-up didn't have great answers. Like, will there be a physical edition that includes the DLC? Nothing to announce at this time. How many hours do we think the DLC is? How big is the map relative to the Friendship Island map? Also, nothing to announce yet, and we're told they cannot announce anything about Switch 2 at this time. One thing they could announce, free updates. On Apple Arcade, we're going to be looking at 2.8 probably around August 20th, and this will be the update where we get a new avatar species, and it has been revealed. We're getting rodents like chipmunks, hamsters, gerbils. They're hoping with the range of features and patterns on the avatars that you'll be able to make a wide range of rodents, including mice. After that update, 2.9 will be Wheatflour Wonderland on September 18th, and then 2.10, probably the first week of October, is going to launch 6 weeks after 2.8, so that's going to be our regular update, and 2.9 with Wheatflour Wonderland is coming in between. It means that late August through early October is going to see a ton of stuff. Here are some images of that new avatar. I totally see the chunky hamster here. We can see some different eye and mouth options, different silhouettes and ears, some of the different patterns, and they're all pretty cute. I do wish there was something that was a little bit more super cute squirrel, but maybe in the combinations. I am happy they went for a direction here, because I've been asking for squirrels and chipmunks for a long time, so I'll probably try them out. And Apple Arcade is not the only one getting a free update, because Content Update 3 is scheduled for Switch and Steam also on September 18th. That is the same day as the DLC, so even if you're not getting the DLC, you will have new content on Switch and Steam on the same day, on September 18th. Content Update 3 will include all the stuff on Friendship Island that's in Apple Arcade Update 2.7 and 2.8, including the Chromie My Melody Pirate Treasure Quest, the new rodent avatars, all those quality of life features and settings, so all of that is free, coming on the same day as the DLC to the base game. And somebody's gonna ask, does that include City Town? No. However, we're gonna learn about City Town release plans sometime in August. And you may be thinking, that's a lot of dates. We haven't seen a visual roadmap, so I put this together and it got kind of messy, but it still gives you an idea. Next week, August 5th, PlayStation digital release, and then around August 20th, 2.8 on Apple Arcade, our first look at those rodent avatars and other stuff, just not sure what yet. August 29th, PlayStation physical release. Also, sometime in August. We don't have a date, and given that they told us sometime in July and it was the last day of July, who knows? We will get that announcement about City Town telling us the release plans, including release dates. And that's when we'll finally know how City Town is coming to all the other platforms. Then September 18th, this is the day to mark on your calendar. That's when Wheatflour Wonderland comes to all current platforms. That includes Apple Arcade, Switch, and Steam on the same day. And on the same day on Switch and Steam, we'll also have Content Update 3. That is the free update for Switch and Steam that includes 2.7 and 2.8 from Apple Arcade and the new rodent avatars. And then around October 1st, Apple Arcade gets 2.10. We don't know what's in it yet. And then October 2nd, PlayStation gets Wheatflour Wonderland. And if you happen to have just screenshot this screen and you're gonna share it with somebody, consider including the link to the video. So those release dates again, September 18th for Switch, Steam, and Apple Arcade, same day for all existing platforms. October 2nd for PlayStation. It's included on Apple Arcade since you can't have additional purchases, and it's $14.99 on all the other platforms. Let's look at everything else we know so far about Wheatflour Wonderland. It is described as the richest world yet. We are told we shouldn't need to hoard anything in preparation just to be wowed by it, because there is so much to find and engage with, and the storyline branches fairly early, so you don't need to complete the main story in order to access the DLC. It's also self-contained and fully complete at launch. It sounds like in the DLC we will have plenty of new outfits and accessories befitting magical heroes, and they tell us with your friends assembled you will transform into the Wheatflour Guardians of Legend in order to help Cogimyun realize her dreams. And there's going to be new cooking and crafting opportunities that let you customize outfits like never before. And here are some examples of those outfits. And if you're looking at these and thinking, that reminds me of some magical girl anime, there's a reason for that. They say that they took a ton of inspiration from magical girl tropes, and it's definitely inspired by those kinds of anime. We will see lots of gemstones, and gemstones play a major role. We'll be finding them, and mechanics will rely on them. As far as the clothes go, they are definitely in the magical girl aesthetic, vaguely Victorian fantasy fancy outfits, and we'll be seeing lots of bright colors and jewel tones. We'll have a wide variety of those in-game, and they are customizable. One offshoot of that theme is wands. This is going to be a major mechanic for the Wheatflour Wonderland, and wands will let us cast magic and transform into critters, and even items in the game transform into critters. Transform into items? Why do I need to do that? Is that going to be for traversal, for puzzles? This is an entirely new way to engage with the game. They do tell us new wands open up the way to new puzzles and challenges. The wands are going to be craftable and customizable, and you can craft them all by finding gemstones and gemmies throughout the land. And yes, gemmies, Gemmies, proper noun, something new in the game, and somehow different from gemstones. I kind of wonder, are they a new creature? Are they a new item? Are they like the Koroks of the Wheatflour Wonderland? We did learn there will not be Gudetama to take pictures of, and I learned there won't be nulls in the DLC, but there will be something else. Could that be what gemmies are? And we were told the special things around critters that the wands can do are restricted to the DLC critters specifically, but some of these aspects may carry over to other locations, and they said they were intentionally vague on that point. So I'm kinda curious what that means. Thinking about critters, we know there are 10 new critters, including these we saw in the DLC. 2 of them look like recolors from the City Town critters. One looks like a rockadoodler with a new hairstyle. However, they won't all be reskins. There is at least one new critter form. I also asked, and there are no pets in the update. Now, the wands did tell us gemstones are going to be really important, so let's take a closer look at the gems. This is one of the opening scenes in the trailer, and you can see so many different gems scattered all over the place. We have different colors, different shapes, stars, hearts, basic geometric shapes, and then it looks like we also have these chests, and the chests seem to have similar gems on them. In this close-up, we can see a pentagon in the middle, and then it looked like maybe the other 2 gems might be in the same shape. Initially, I thought each shape has its own color. However, when we look at these 2 closer, it looks like the orange and the green may be the same octagon, so it does not appear that color and shape go together. You can see we have the octagon, the star, heart, hexagon, and the pentagon, and then we can see the player character use the pentagon to open a chest. The gem seems to fit like a key to unlock the chest. We didn't get to see what's inside though, and then we get to see more of those chests. So we have the oval, the diamond, and the moon. Don't know what shape is on the gray chest though, and then it looks like the player character is holding up that oval gem, and the color seems to match the chest. And you can also see on the player's clothes and on Hello Kitty's, it looks like we have similar gems. So we have a white oval, red heart. On Cinema Buffet, we can see that sky blue hexagon, and then in the trailer, we had that sky blue hexagon out in the world, and it looked like the player character was going to collect it. And one of the first things they showed us was that some of the existing friends are going to have those magical hero transformations. So here we can see Choco Cat has a rhombus, Hello Kitty has the red heart, and then it looks like a player character is wearing the same outfit as Cinnamoroll, and then on the one on the left it has a different bow and dress with a white oval stone and a red oval stone. My Melody and Kuromi have their own outfits too, and actually the player character in the previous one, this one, the little mouse on the side, looks like she may be wearing a red variant. The dress that my Melody is wearing, I don't think we've seen any player characters wearing what Kuromi has, and I think Kuromi is the only one we've seen with a star so far. There are some additional outfits for the player character too. Here we see the tiny top hat Kuromi had, but with the oval stone instead, and then we have a heart on the bow here instead of the oval. So here are some of those player outfits all together. Sometimes the shapes match between the head thing and the outfit. Sometimes they're different. Sometimes the colors match. Sometimes they're different. I kind of wondered if the outfits needed to match the wands in some way, but here are all the shapes I found so far. We have the oval, heart, star, pentagon, rhombus, hexagon, octagon, moon, and the diamond, like the gemstone diamond. I do wonder if there's going to be a 10th shape with that gray chest, or maybe another shape hiding out there that I missed. And then if there are 10 gems, do they align with the 10 critters in some way? And in the trailer, it wasn't super obvious, but I'm pretty sure they did show the player character turning into the critter on the way to get one of the gems. If you watch the camera, it is centering on the chicken the way it does on the player character, and watching the chicken's legs flail in the air is kind of funny. You might think, oh, they'll use use this form to fly, but the chicken doesn't really seem to fly very well. In addition to being able to craft the wands, we'll also be able to make new food because there is a new ingredient, noodle grass. I kind of wonder if that might be the curly grass or something else. Have we seen it in the background and didn't realize? And noodle grass will let us make noodle-based food. And they gave the examples of ramen and spaghetti with meatballs. It made me wonder, is that our first meat-based? But I asked, and no, the meatballs are made of tofu. You may have noticed the shrimp in the trailer or in the screenshot and thought, oh, we're going to be cooking shrimp, but this little guy is a friend, not food. And we'll talk more about him in a little bit. But first, let's talk about cabins. We don't know too much yet. When the first screenshot was posted, they said, please excuse our work in progress signs. And we were told there are cabins in the game, but they work a little differently. We don't know how exactly, but we did get to see this screenshot. And you can see we have the number 5 over here, so we know there's going to be at least 5 cabins. They have this really neat rounded design with so many textures, that scaly roof, several kinds of stone, even a pattern on this part. And this is the screenshot where those critter photos came from. Let's just appreciate the periwinkle bushes. Might be one of my favorite plants so far. I hope we can still hide in them just like in Merry Meadow. I do wonder a little bit if these may be planters of some sort. Are these lenses connected to this cabin, or is there something else going on behind it? Because we have this here and this over here, which may just be decorative. And then we can see another rooftop back here, so I'm not sure if it's terraced and that's just another cabin, or if it might be another kind of building, because we have this thing going around it, but we do have one of those down here and behind this one too. These lenses, what is going on there? Are we going to be directing light through them, or are they actually bubbles? Kind of like we saw the force field level bubbles before. Are they just lights? Is there something else behind there? Are they attached to this visitor cabin? And then as we zoom in, there's also some interesting lines here, and I kind of wonder if something was removed from the image, or if that's a show through from behind, these little arc shapes, or some other artifact from an early image. Either way, these fit perfectly into the world, and it gives us a different sort of place for cabins with all of these stone terraces. But I am really curious about what we'll be doing other than decorating the cabins. Are we decorating them for the DLC characters? Is something else happening in these buildings? I mentioned Cogimyun's dream. I think it'd be really neat if they were something like dream cabins, like dream addresses in Animal Crossing, where you could upload it and other players could see it. I feel like maybe that can't happen because there's no persistent server, but that would be really neat. And since we're talking about cabins, you may be wondering, how are we going to open them? Are there going to be strawberry crates in the DLC? And we were told strawberry crates are a distinctly Friendship Island thing, and it would depend on how close the area was to Friendship Island. If the answer was no, why not say no? If the answer is yes, say yes. So I wonder if answering gives something away or part of the story. But strawberry crates in the DLC, right now, we don't know. One thing that will be in the DLC, I've confirmed there will be weather. I did not confirm what kind of weather, only that there will be weather. Something else we're going to have in the DLC are Wheathearts. All one word. Most of the terms in the game that have wheat as the first part are going to be one word. This is a new collectible, and we can collect them using magic, solving environmental puzzles, and unearthing secrets. I have to admit, I hear unearthing secrets, and I imagine just destroying the world and punching into the ground like Donkey Kong. I'm guessing it's probably not going to be like that. And then once you have your Wheathearts, you can exchange them at the Wheatheart tree for themed rewards. And we can see at the Wheatheart tree, it looks like something that maybe we'll be able to talk to. It has eyes on it, so maybe it is the kind of character. And it looks like one part of the tree is already filled in. I kind of wonder if the other hearts will fill in as we exchange Wheathearts. I do wonder what the rewards are going to be, and if they may be one of those new furniture sets we've seen. But first, let's take a look at those environmental puzzles. These were explained in the developer Q&A that one of their favorite things are open world games and the open world itself, and the very casual, implicit environmental puzzles you have all around in an open world game. These will be one of the ways you can get Wheathearts, and they liken them to Genshin totems and Korok puzzles. Now, I don't play Genshin, but I have consulted with a Genshin player and looked a little bit on the wiki, and here's one example of the way that those work in Genshin Impact. For instance, you may have different structures in the world, each relating to a different element, and you need to interact with it using that element and a character related to that element to activate it, and sometimes they may be broken and you need to repair them before you can interact with them, so you may need to do something else before you can interact with it. But you would find these around the world, and then these may be set up in different puzzles, so you may need to interact with them in a certain pattern or within a certain amount of time, but they're just out in the world for you to find. Another type of environmental puzzle you may be more familiar with, at least I was, are the various Koroks in Zelda. Sometimes you need to find them, shoot something, interact with something, might be a symbol, could be a curious pinwheel, a suspicious sparkle of leaves, or it could be something else in the world, like you see a circle of rocks, it's missing one rock, but there's another rock nearby, so you simply bring the rock over, complete the circle, and a Korok pops up. And then in Tears of the Kingdom, we also have the ones where you have to bring one Korok to its friend, and you typically have to get pretty creative to get it over there. So all of these are examples of environmental puzzles. They tend to be semi-bonus things you can do in the world. They do still have a purpose, and they could be just about anywhere. They tend to encourage you to explore the map, kind of like the way photographing Gudetama in the main game do. So I feel like this is part of what's going to be replacing that mechanic. More puzzle light, but exploration, but really integrated into the open world. So I'm excited to see how they integrate this into the DLC. What are our versions of these environmental puzzles going to be like? What are those kinds of things we need to be looking out for? How many of them are there going to be? I kind of wonder if we're going to have a Korok equivalent, and that's what the Gemmies might be. And then instead of them giving you Korok seeds, maybe they give you Wheathearts. But it's exciting to see completely new mechanics in the DLC. We have wands, Wheathearts, new kinds of puzzles, magic, who knows what else? One thing that may be familiar though, flowers. There will be flowers in the DLC, and if you look closely, you actually caught a glimpse of them in the trailer. We will have Wheatflours in the game. That is all one word. Colors, patterns, and a new effect. On the Steam page, we learned the new effect is glitter, and it brings a new sparkle to the game. In the Q&A, they said that people who like flowers will be excited about the flowers there. However, for those who are less into flowers, the flowers will be way less sticky outy in a visual way. And I think we definitely see this in the trailer, because when they were running through this field of wheat, did you realize that was a flower plot? If we take a closer look, you can see the circle. That's what we see around the flower plots. So it looks like we're looking at a huge field of wheat flowers. I'm very curious how the flower patterns and effects are going to transfer. Is their native color only going to be cream? Can I plant all the other flowers in the DLC? We did see white hibiscus displayed. I'm guessing that was more like a planter situation rather than a field, but it's really hard to say because it doesn't really look like either one. Also, early in the trailer, we get to see the new character coming with the DLC. This is a new friend, Cogimyun. She is a wheat flower fairy, and she's super cute. She was introduced by Sanrio in 2015, and when she gets upset, she falls apart into a pile of flour. And I did confirm that is in the game. The version of her in the game is based on the official Sanrio character guide, which is not the same as the wikis. On the wiki, we do learn that she attends nursery school to become a full-fledged cook, but what she really wants is to become an onigiri, because that's her grandfather's favorite food. However, she doesn't know what an onigiri is. On the wiki it says she likes strawberries, so I do sort of wonder if that's going to be one of her tags, and if maybe her gifts could be made with strawberry. There is a short anime on YouTube, but it doesn't sound like that was a reference point for her story in the game. Cogimyun will have outfits. You've only seen her in her base form and what may be her magical transformation, and Cogimyun is going to have 35 levels. This is more levels than we've had for any other character. Luckily though, those levels should go by faster, so it should take a similar amount of time to the current characters to level her up, and those levels will unlock new quests, new abilities, and a unique furniture set. And part of the reason they needed all of those levels was so that they had a way to give away all of that furniture set, because there are so many items. I think I count about 16 or 17 in here, depending on whether or not the rug and the floor are separate, but it looks like we have a vanity, a stool, side table, a bed, a plush of Cogimyun, a longer table, an armoire, a floor lamp, a bag of flour, a coffee table, a couch, a dining chair, and a dining table, as well as a wall and floor, and maybe a rug. So it's pretty clear this is the character set, which means about half her levels are furniture. In addition, one other Cogimyun thing they showed off in the trailer appears to be her sweater. The player character is wearing it throughout the direct, and it looks sort of like the top of her head, with white and pink on the body, and it looks like maybe her little heart pattern going around the sleeve. So I wonder if that means she'll be involved in Give and Gather, or if we'll get this another way, maybe through one of her friendship levels. And Cogimyun is not the only character coming to the game. Fry, maybe it's Fry, Fry and Cogimyun's little brother, will both be coming to Wheatflour Wonderland, but they're not coming as visitors. Instead, they have special roles in quests and in mini-games, so instead they're called cameo characters. So not main friends, not visitors. They say they serve a similar purpose, kind of like Gudetama or Nizutama-san. I do wonder if that means we won't be interacting with them too much. And them saying the minigame, there's a tiny part of me that's thinking, could we be finding either of these tiny characters in a hidden scenario? Kind of like I was talking about with the character finding thing. But here's the sense of scale. And those white hibiscus I was mentioning, they were in the screenshots, not in the trailer. I wonder if the background is an earlier stage of the wheat flour with those 3 leaves. But can you see these characters are so cute and they are so small? I mean, look at Cinnamoroll as a reference. Fry is super teeny tiny, now probably our smallest character in the game. So these are the 3 characters in the DLC. You have the main friend on the left, Cogimyun. She is the one who has those 35 friendship levels. And then the other 2 will be cameo characters involved in mini games. And they also said mini games will unlock themed furniture and other prizes. And I kind of wonder if this may be some of that themed furniture. I think we have at least 18 items in here, and these have that stained glass theming. So I could totally see how you could customize them. Imagine glass. Probably changing up the upholstery, maybe the white on the other items. I do wonder if you'd be able to change the gold for silver or another color, or if it'll always be gold like the furniture for the Friendship Festival this year. I wonder how well those 2 sets would mix and match. But in here it looks like we have a pedestal or a side table. We have this table, rectangle thing, a vanity, a table lamp, a mirror, chair, ottoman, plant on a stand, a very elaborate bed, an upholstered bench, dining chair, dining table, maybe a rug, or it may be part of the floor. And then back here we have a couch, a standing lamp, a partition, an armoire, and then we also have the wall. Although this could also be the wall and floor in the cabins. Everything feels pretty themed to what we've seen outside. So I wonder if that's going to be the furniture set in the mini games. On Steam, we learned there are 3 mini games. One of those can be played with friends, and we know you can win exclusive furniture and other prizes. From the Q&A, right now it sounds like friends without the DLC may be able to join you in the multiplayer minigame, and they'll be able to earn points. However, they cannot redeem those points for prizes if they don't have the DLC. Speaking about multiplayer in the DLC, it sounds like details are still being finalized, but non-DLC players will probably be limited to only playing that multiplayer game and earning points. The DLC items will not be able to be traded to non-DLC saves, so players who don't have the DLC will not be able to get DLC items from players who do have the DLC enter the DLC world, even if they're playing on somebody else's island where they do have the DLC. And a huge part of the reason for that is it seems like it messes up save files. So right now, this looks like the safest option. It sounds like you'll be able to trade if you both have the DLC, but you won't be able to give somebody without the DLC an item from the DLC. We'll have to wait and see on some of those final details with the multiplayer, but I think that's everything we know so far about the new Wheatflour Wonderland DLC coming September 18th for Hello Kitty Island Adventure on Steam, Switch, and Apple Arcade, and then October 2nd on PlayStation. Did you notice anything in the trailer that I missed? Anything in the Discord that was confirmed that I missed? What do you think those 3 mini-games are going to be? How do you think the wands are going to practically work? What are the other critters we can transform into? Why would we want to? What objects are you hoping to transform into in the game? I feel like we've seen the least about that. What colors and shapes do you want on your magical hero outfit? And what do you think is going to be in the Ancient Citadel once we unlock it. Let us know in the comments below, and let us know what your favorite part of the DLC we already know about is. What are you hoping is in it? Will you be getting the DLC, and on which platform? Subscribe for more Hello Kitty Island Adventure content. We will be streaming the DLC, probably both on Apple Arcade and on Switch. It's going to be a very busy weekend in September, and that way if you haven't decided by then, you'll be able to see more about what's in it, how big the map is, what the gameplay is like, but I'm sure we'll learn plenty more before then. And of course, there'll be a ton of video guides on the channel. Turn on notifications so you know when the next video is posted and to find out when we go live. Hope to see you there.